Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this webinar where we're going to present the latest version of WATS 2020.3 that is just released. Some of you may have access to it already, but in the near future you'll all be given access to it as it's been updated on the cloud platform. Okay, my name is Vidar Jonas. I'm head of sales at Verenco, and I'm going to be holding this presentation for you today. We have a short little agenda. First, we're going to do a little recap of 2020.2 that was released last year, and then we're going to switch to the updated version. The community is growing. WATS is growing. This is the current counter number on our web page, showing how many data points we've processed. It's more than 42 billion and growing fast. All right, so a little recap on the last version. We changed our trigger module. It's now called alarms and notifications. So there are a few new things here. You can automatically disable alarms. So if they're fired very often and you want them to be quiet, you can set a limit. The grid that's been used is similar to what we're using elsewhere in WATS, so you can export and you can change the columns with the available options. The alarms and notification module also allows you to create alarms on yields and not just reports as the initial module could. All right. We also added smart filtering. That means, for instance, on part number, you can start typing the product name or the part number, and the list of part numbers will automatically show up for you. This also works on the station name. So this was new. On the test reports, as you've seen, there's a lot of pie charts. They were made configurable, so you can choose which pie charts you're interested in just by clicking the chart option button and choose how many and which ones that you want to show on your test reports view. We added a function in product groups so you can more easily see which part numbers are still not associated with any product groups. So you get a list of the part numbers that are not part of any queries in the product groups. But to add them to a product group, you go back into the normal user interface and add them to a new or to an existing product group. We added a dashboard module in preview. So we're doing a big upgrade of our dashboard interface with a lot of different widgets showing a station map where the test stations are located based on your GPS coordinates, and widgets for seeing your overall yields, top failures, repairs, etc. So we're investing quite heavily in this, and there will be updates now in the latest version as well. So I will show you what we've done to further enhance this module built upon the framework that we introduced in 2020.2. We made a number of improvements to the system manager. You can now get an overview of your clients. You can see which converters and versions are installed. You can see if there's standard library add-ons, what's the status on those add-ons. You can also update the client location purpose, so you can get the event log, and you can see the virtual GPS coordinates set. Most of these you actually need version 6.0 of our client, but you can download it from our download page at wats.com/download. We also introduced Azure AD Integration. So the administrator or manager of your account can link this together. This means that if the user exists in WATS and it's a valid user in your Azure AD, he can log in with a single sign-on. It also, of course, makes it easier to maintain a number of users. If somebody leaves the company and you want them automatically also removed from your WATS account. So the new sign-in page will contain this sign in with Microsoft button if it's enabled on your account. Okay, the REST API, we added a couple of important functions here that's been requested a few times, which is the possibility to post directly from the REST API, posting what standard XML format or what standard JSON format. So you don't have to use the WATS client to upload data. So this is part of the upgrade in 20.2. All right, then we're on to the latest release, 20.3. We have a lot of different topics we're gonna cover. So it's on the user interface and a lot of nice things that I hope you enjoy. Okay, we're gonna switch to our installation here. So I'm in my browser, and the first thing you notice is that we've changed the layout on the welcome page. So directly now in the welcome page, you can do searches. So if you're going to search our support forum, you get a list of articles. Or you can search for reports and functionality directly. So if you want to see the repair reports, you'll find them directly by using the search interface. And in addition, if I open up one of the reports, I can also make these favorites on my start page. So just click this star button, and now it's been marked as a favorite. So if I go back to my home page, the test report is now one of my favorites. So you can add those and put the reports that you use the most on your welcome page. Okay, next up we go to the test and repair interface. I should have used search, by the way, to find the report I'm looking for. But we made an upgrade to the total process yield report. It's been rewritten to HTML5. I'm going to run a filter. And there are some new options in this table and layout. So on the left-hand side, you will see there's a new button, and it either holds a view that can give you a matrix view containing the source data this calculation is made up of. So in this case, it tells you which serial number was started inside of this period that I'm looking at. So if you have defined if you have defined unit verification rules on this part number, this button will be available and it will say open a matrix view. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on this particular serial number. So it brings up a new window and it will show me the list of serial numbers that this filter gave me. All right, so we have also added some more functionality to the smart filters. So let's have a look. So here, as I told you, we can search by name or part number, and it will show you the list of available matches. We also did the same thing on the MISC info. This has been a little hidden, so you had to know exactly what you were searching for, but with this search option now, you have available all the different miscellaneous info being stored in your reports, and also the set of values available for those, which makes it a little bit easier to use this type of information in the searches for data. Okay, next thing here, let me pick a number of reports. When I apply a filter, looking for some reports. I'm going to search on status. And I wanted to show you a new way we can mark and copy data. So I'm looking at some serial number that has been terminated. And you notice when I click this, I'm actually marked the cell. So you can do this by using Shift and mark many. And you can easily copy and paste these and put it back into your filters if you want to. So I've done that. I'm only going to search for these, so I hit Control V, and it automatically adds a little semicolon for me, which makes the list valid. There's a little note here, though, is that if you're going to use this in the older style reports, the semicolon will not be added automatically. So it may be a workaround for the time being to paste them into this report first, and then copy the list from here back into other reports. But it will eventually be updated into all reports. So what I did now, I added these serial numbers, and I asked for all reports associated with them by copying them from the table view. So just notice that all of these fields are now possible to mark and to copy to other places in the system, or to reports that you're working on. We have a new yield report. It shows here as being in preview. So let's have a look. Let's just apply this filter. Okay, so there are several new things that we've done here. First of all, there is now dynamic query happening in the background. So if you make changes to your column options, you will apply and summarize data differently than before, which only summarized the data that was already queried. So to show you a difference between this one and the old one, in this case, I'm going to remove part number and product name to this table. You can see that it sums up in the test operation field all the units in one on one line. And you can see here we're sorting here secondly on the test operation, so they will be listed with one line. If we compare this to the old method, if I go back into the old yield report, I choose the same filter, and as you can see here, we have part number and product name enabled first. So the three first part numbers here are all PCBA test. Now, if I go to column options and take away part number and product name, it doesn't summarize the data into the PCBA test or into the test operations. So although they're all three of them are PCBA tests, they will now show up in three separate lines. So you have this schema in the background in a new report that automatically requeries the database and update it accordingly. And also as you would expect the data to be seen. So it's more, I'd say it's easier to understand, and yeah, it makes it a little bit clearer what data you're actually looking at. In the old report, you needed to know what you were looking at. All right, so another thing is that you can sort, of course, but you can sort at multiple levels. So in this case, I'm sorting firstly on my unit and then secondly on test operation. So you can turn this on and off, and you can search on multiple of these by clicking the arrow buttons. So there may be ways that you want to have your data displayed. So it makes a lot of flexibility when you can search in multiple, or sorry, sort in multiple levels. We have also made the chart view part of the table view. So if I'm going to turn, I can toggle this on and off by clicking this new chart button on top of the grid. So I take it away, or I bring it back. I can also make my own report. So if you want to have your data displayed in a different way than we have here, you can make your own predefined tables. So in this case, I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to create a new based on the template called yield. Give it my name, my product yield. Say OK. And now I have a fourth member on this report. So I can jump to my first, to my own. And you can then play around with these and make the views of the data as fits your analysis. So it's a bit more flexible than before, adding your own custom data sets and sort them as you please. Then let's go to the new dashboard module. It's still in preview. Let's go have a look here. All right, so there are some new widgets, like this yield pie chart that gives you an overall view of your first, second, third, last plus yield. There is a full screen button, so you can toggle in and out of full screens. There's been added chart labels to a lot of charts, so it's easier to see the data instead of hovering over the data sources. And a requested widget is a new measurement widget. So now you can pick your KPIs. You can then see them over time, and we calculate the average value, CPK, high limit and low limit. So you can see how they vary over your time span. A little note today, it's brand new, it's just added. So when you want to select a measurement path, you have to do it manually. So just be aware of that. There is an explanation in the release notes, so you can see the format. But it's essentially the measurement path that you find when you follow up on measurements in the step details view. Okay, so it gives you a really good overview, and you can have as many of these as you please. And together with another new option, so if I click the Manage button, there's now a subscribe and share function. So if there is a view that you're interested in, you can then have it sent to you by email. You just go in here and tell it how frequently you want the dashboard to be sent. So if there are specific parameters that you can watch daily, choose a daily subscription, and you can also send it to other members of your team so that they have access to the same report that you think are valuable for you and for them. There are more of our standard reports that are now easily accessible to be added to the dashboard. So, for instance, the total process yield. So now you have this add to dashboard function on this report as well. So you see more of these on multiple reports, so you can add them to the dashboard that you like. Right, we also added support for deleting using the delete button, so some minor updates as well to the dashboard functionality. Next up, we go to the control panel. There's some changes here as well. First thing you notice is that we changed the layout a little bit, so we want to make this cleaner and more understandable. We have some overlapping features, so we're trying to clean this up, and there will be further changes as we move along. So they're called user and account, there's process and production, there is system and assets, and there are products. Okay, so one new feature here is there's a new change log. So if you want to keep track of things that have been updated, change in your system, there are ways now to see a change log. Let's see, so here's the latest users being updated, or you can search for things and filter this as you like yourself. All right, another thing that we're doing is that we are building a new production manager. So the production manager used to be our serial number MAC address handler, but it's now being separated. It's called serial number handler because the new production manager that is under development and is in a preview version now will handle both or all three of workflow, the manual inspection, and also an updated version of our software manager. So in this version, we prioritized software manager. So what you see here now is the software manager view where you can create your packages and handle the tags where these packages should be available, etc. The reason is that the current software manager is in Silverlight. It will still be available in this version. So you will have both the old software manager and this new one, HTML5, called production manager, but eventually it will hold the other two tools as well, the workflow and the serial number MAC address handler. Okay, also, as many of you have seen, we have changed the way we are licensing the product. So we're going to charge WATS according to how much data that you upload instead of users and clients. So in this version, you have an account page. So I'm going to load my account page or some overall information on which pod I'm currently on, how many clients and how many users are registered to my system. There's also a subscription plan in here, so it tells me what plan I'm currently on. So I'm on enterprise and I'm 100 meg per month. And then I'll see my monthly upload of data. So you can follow and see if you're managing your subscription within inside of the current plan. There's also a link to the external tool that we use, ChargePay, for you to change the plan that you're on, increase, upgrade, etc. So this is part of your own account settings now, and of course having the correct billing shipping address and PO numbers and things like this. That is always a question between our accounting and your accounting. So now you have one central place to keep this updated and make sure that you are on the right plan. In this version also, there are many new functions in the REST API. So for a complete list of updates and function calls, the best place is to look in the release notes. But I found here there are updates in most of these categories, barcode identifiers, product and asset information can be read and set directly using the REST API. So a lot of new functionality here that makes what's easier to integrate in your suite of tools that you use for managing your production data. Also, it's the same API that we use when we build our Android and iOS apps. So it's definitely something that we're going to keep on investing in moving forward. Yeah, so there are also some miscellaneous features. I'm not going to cover all of them, and actually some bug fixes that we have added. Those are found in the release note as well. Well, I can show you the added themes now. So if you go to your settings, you can actually choose if you want a dark or a light theme on your WATS application. So there are things in that department as well. Okay, that concludes what I wanted to discuss. If there are any questions, and if we haven't answered them during this session, you get an answer by email afterwards. Or if there are things that you would like us to show you specifically, please get in touch. We'll be able to host a session with you and your team alone and present these features and show you examples on how you can use them and what the benefits are. So with that, thank you very much for attending. We'll speak soon, I guess. Have a nice day. Goodbye.